third graders. I am so excited to tell you that you are going to be learning the rest of this year with Mrs. Oslin and Mrs. Wally. They're amazing teachers. I wish I could keep teaching with you on TV, but I got a new job at Roosevelt Elementary. I'm going to be coaching teachers. And so to help teachers, I've had to pass on my third grade duties to your new TV teachers. But they're amazing, and they're going to be doing a lot of great learning with you on here. So keep learning, keep tuning in, and just know that I'll be thinking about you. Have a good day, third graders.
Hi, third graders. I'm Mrs. Oslin, and I am so excited to be one of your TV teachers for the rest of the school year. I will be here with you every weekday talking about reading and writing and how we can grow together as readers and writers. After my reading or writing lesson, we're going to have about a 5-minute break, and then Mrs. Wally will come in and she will help us with math. So before we get started, just like you did with Miss Gomez, it's always important for us to check in with our zones and our emotions before we do any thinking about academics. So check in. Might sound like an I message. I feel because I'm just going to model. I feel tired. I have been teaching on TV all day, and Miss Wally and I were just talking about how tired we are. So one thing that I'm going to do to help me refocus and wake up my brain is use my mindful jar. And the oil and the water in my mindful jar don't mix. So when I tilt it, it makes some bubbles in there. And if I shake it really fast, this might help wake up my mind. It makes lots of bubbles and they're moving around very quickly. And it's waking up my mind, watching them settle and watching the oil and water separate. And watching the colors separate and settle. Oh, that really helped. I feel a lot more awake and ready to go. The materials that you're going to need for this lesson are your ELA packet, a pencil, and your learning buddy. I have my learning buddy here. And while you gather your materials, I'm going to step over to the screen and get ready. You've been working really hard on all sorts of different reading strategies to help you be a stronger reader, both when you're in a lesson, either with Miss Gomez or now me, or your teacher on the computer if you're able to do that. Today I want to teach you that there are things that you can do to help you stay focused when you're reading. Just last night I was reading my book and I got through I think 2 pages before I realized I had no clue what I had read. So that might happen to you as a reader also. In your ELA packet, there is this anchor chart called How to Stay Focused. And while I understand there's a lot of text on this chart, we're going to talk about just a couple things today to really help us. I'm going to use a cool trick that Miss Wally taught me. Highlighter. I want you to focus on our first bullet point, because the text that we're going to read has a lot of words. And if we preview the text before we even get started and give yourself some background information about what you read, that will help you stay focused. I also want you to keep your eyes focused on the words on the page. Also, if it helps you, use your finger to touch the word as you read, or you can use an index card to focus on the lines that you're currently reading. We're going to use those 3 bullet points to get started. Let's preview our text. The title is Why Bears Sleep All Winter, A Tale from Lapland. It's retold by Gail Seifert Jacob, and the art is by Leah Elizabeth Marcoux. Now, think about the title, Why Bears Sleep All Winter, and it says A Tale from Lapland. And I know that a tale is often a story that's passed down orally from older generations to younger generations. And sometimes the tale is meant to teach us a lesson in real life. So there's our background knowledge that we can use to help us better focus. Now, if it's helpful to you, you can use your finger to track as I read and really keep your eyes focused and try to read with me. We're going to stop periodically to check in and try to create a picture in our mind about what we're reading to help us focus. So let's get started. Why bears sleep all winter? When the world was young, Ukko, the thunder god, often climbed down from the clouds to inspect the earth. He walked the land dressed as an ordinary man. One afternoon, Ukko hiked in the northern mountains. He was enjoying a bright fall day before the long, dark winter. Ukko came to a stream and stopped to admire the hills on the other side. He wished to cross the stream and climb those hills, but there was no bridge and the rushing water was too deep. Near where he stood, a black horse hungrily grazed at the last of the wild grasses. I must keep eating this grass. Now look at the picture at the bottom of that column, and that will give you a place to start with a picture that you can have in your mind. That's one of our strategies for helping us stay focused. It has our character, Ukko, and then the black horse that he came upon while he was hiking in the mountains. It also said he was enjoying a bright fall day, much like it is today. It's fall, but it is pretty bright out there. So I'm going to have you close your eyes, and you're going to do what's called visualize, which means play this in your mind like a movie as I reread part of it. Ukko came to a stream and stopped to admire the hills on the other side. He wished to cross the stream and climb those hills, but there was no bridge and the rushing water was too deep. Are you visualizing the rushing water? Can you almost hear the water in your mind flowing? Let's check back in with another strategy that we could use to help us focus. You could read aloud. Oh, this is create a picture in your mind. We did that. Read loud in a quiet voice to hear the words. And reread when you lose focus to remind yourself what's happening in your text. That's like the strategy that I had to use last night when I read a couple pages and realized I had no clue what I read. I went back and reread. And then it's also important to notice when you're losing focus to take a break, take a breath, and then come back to your text. So let's focus on read aloud in a quiet voice, reread when you lose focus to remind yourself of what's happening, and take a break. We're also going to keep visualizing, creating the picture in our mind as we read. Ukko said, "Horse, carry me across the stream, and I will give you a great reward." The horse raised his head. "I must keep eating this grass," he said. "Snow will soon cover the food on the ground." And with that, the horse lowered his head and continued grazing. Ukko shook his head and walked further along the stream. He hadn't gone half a mile before a leaping reindeer appeared. Ukko called, "Reindeer, carry me across the stream, and I will give you a great reward." Going south to escape the deep winter snow," said the reindeer. "Can't stop for a minute, miles to go." And he leaped away. I think I stopped focusing for a minute there because suddenly there's a new character, a reindeer, and I wasn't really paying attention. So I'm going to practice going back and rereading part of this to remind myself what was happening. Okay. Ukko shook his head and walked farther along the stream. He hadn't gone half a mile before a leaping reindeer appeared. Got it. Ukko called, "Reindeer, carry me across the stream, and I will give you a great reward." "Going south to escape the deep winter snow," said the reindeer. "Can't stop for a minute, miles to go." And he leaped away. So paying attention to where I lost track and going back and rereading was a really good strategy for me in that moment. I also could have taken a breath, taken a break, and then come back to your text. Now what we're going to do is continue reading, and then after a paragraph or two, we're going to restate or retell what we've read to get through a good portion of the text. And of course, make sure you read at your own pace. Don't go too fast and don't go too slow. Ukko shook his head and walked farther along the stream. As he reached the edge of a forest, he met a brown bear. The bear was gobbling the last of the wild berries from a bush. Ukko said, "Bear, carry me across the stream and I will give you a great reward." Now, as I'm reading, I'm thinking back. That is exactly what Ukko said to the reindeer. He's having trouble getting across the stream, and he's come across a reindeer and a bear, and he keeps saying, "Carry me across the stream and I will give you a great reward." So that retell is really helping me focus on the text and keep track of what has happened so far. Let's continue reading. Remember to read at your own pace. The bear looked at Ukko and swallowed a mouthful of berries. "More berries may grow on the other side," said the bear. "I will happily give you a ride." "You will not be sorry," said Ukko. Ukko gripped the bear's shaggy coat and climbed onto his back. Splish, splash. Now, I'm hearing those splish, splash words, and I'm thinking this might be a good time for us to use that visualization strategy. They crossed the stream safely. There in the meadow, the bear found more berry bushes. He ate happily while Ukko hiked in the hills nearby. As the day grew to an end, the sun dimmed and a stiff wind blew around the hills. Ukko returned to the meadow and found the berry bushes empty. The sleepy bear with a full stomach leaned against the rocky entrance of a cave. Ukko said, "Bear, climb into the cave and sleep. Your kindness has brought you a great reward. You will sleep until the sun grows strong and spring arrives. Bears will never again worry about finding food in the long, dark winter." Oh, the title of the tale was "Why Bears Sleep All Winter." This is telling me a story about how Ukko promised the bear a great reward if he carried him across the river. And his great reward was being able to sleep all winter so they didn't have to worry about finding food. "A great reward indeed," said the bear, curling up in the cave. Ukko climbed the mountains and back up to the clouds, happy to have rewarded a good deed. And this is why bears, but not horses or reindeer, sleep all winter. Some other strategies that you can use to help you stay focused are make sure you choose texts that are interesting to you. That's important, especially choosing just right texts. It has to be interesting to you or you won't be able to focus on it. Keep track of how much you read, pages and minutes, and celebrate your accomplishments. Celebrate that you have set a goal and achieved it. In your learning packet, you will also find your reading log. This is where you're going to keep track of the date, the book title and author of what you're reading, and the number of pages or minutes that you've read. And make sure that you go back to this every time you read and celebrate the growth that you've made. I also want you to find your reading self-assessment in your packet. Answer the questions, really analyze or think about your reading habits. Did you stay focused? And which strategies helped you? Did you understand what you were reading? You know that you understood it if you can retell or explain the important ideas. Did you find a good reading spot and avoid distractions? Why was this reading spot so successful? And how many pages did I read today during independent reading time? How many did I read each day this week? It's important that you're keeping track of that so that you can continue to grow your stamina and grow as a reader by reading for longer and longer periods of time. So friends, the independent work I want you working on today are get out your how to stay focused. That's in your ELA reading chart. If you want to reread the text, Why Bears Sleep All Winter, that's also in your ELA packet. Your reading log, you're going to want to complete that and send it either to me here or to your teacher. And your reading self-assessment. You're going to want to check back in with your reading self-assessment every week so that you can decide which strategies, because a strategy that helped you today may not be a strategy that helps you tomorrow. And you may challenge yourself and find different reading spots if you're finding that the reading spot that you've chosen isn't a good one or it has distractions. And then continue to monitor your independent reading stamina. Thank you so much for reading with me today. I look forward to reading with you and writing with you every weekday. Now, third graders, you're going to go off and take a break, about 5 minutes. Get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, move around a little because you've been sitting there for about 20 minutes. And then when we come back, Mrs. Wally will be ready to go with math. Thanks, third graders. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hello, third graders. I'm Mrs. Wally. I am going to be your math teacher this year on TV, and I wanted to introduce myself. This is my 13th year teaching, and I've been in Tacoma for 6 years, and I was in Burien for 6 years before that, and I am so excited to be your TV teacher this year. I also wanted to introduce you to my learning buddy. This is Pebble, and he goes with me to all the grade levels and helps me teach math. He's my thinking buddy. I need you to grab a few things before we start today. I need you to get a whiteboard or a piece of paper and a marker or a pencil. And if you happen to have base 10 blocks at home, you could grab those too, but I don't think most of you have them. But if you have some, go ahead and grab those too. I have some here I'll use that you can see, so don't worry if you don't have any. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we start, I'm going to take some deep breaths because honestly, my zone's a little blue right now. I am very, very tired. It's the afternoon and I've been teaching all day. So I'm going to take some deep breaths. Another one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stand up. You're going to meet me at the screen and we're going to do a little number talk before we get into our lesson. So take a look here. This is what we call the target number. And I have the number 28. And below the number 28, you see the numbers 14, 7, 21, 16, and 5. So you're going to take some private think time. And I want you to think about what numbers you can put together in an equation to make 28. Now you may use addition or subtraction, and you may use the numbers as many times as you need to. So there's no rule that you can only use one number once. You can use the same number twice. You can use a number 3 times, whatever you need to use in order to get to 28. You ready? Private think time. After you have a way, you could put your thumb up. And then if you have another way, you could put a finger up. And let's see how many ways you can get to 28. Go ahead, tell me, what are some of the equations that you found to get to 28? This is one I saw right off the bat. 14 plus 14. Now, I know that this pen is squeaky and I apologize. I'm trying to write lighter, but it likes to squeak when I write. Okay, what's another way we could get to 28? Yep, 21 plus 7. What's another way we could get to 28? Ooh, Pebble, I like it. 16 plus 5 plus 7. Ooh, that was a good one. Are there any other ways to get to 28? Very nice. 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 28. Fantastic work, third graders. So every time when we start math, we're going to do a little number talk like this, and they're all going to be different. And sometimes we'll do target numbers, sometimes we'll do other things, okay? So it's kind of a way to, what I like to call prime the pump. It gets your brain ready to do some really good math thinking. So today, our learning target is I am learning to find the sum when regrouping is needed. So, sum. When you hear that word sum, what do you think about, third graders? Adding. So we're going to be adding and we're going to be working with regrouping. Now, as we do our problems today, I'm going to be over at my table with my base 10 blocks, and you're going to be able to see me with my base 10 blocks. You'll just see my hands and the screen. So it says I can model the picture with base 10 blocks or a base 10 drawing. So what I want you to do is to draw the base 10 blocks as I'm building with them. So what that might look like, I'm just going to do it right here so you can see it. What that might look like is hundreds can be a square, tens can be a stick, and ones can be a circle, okay? So you're going to draw it as I build it underneath. So let's look at our first problem. And Kevin, he's going to pop up the picture over here, and I'm going to walk over. You can work on this problem as I'm getting set up. So it says, add 350 and 240. Here I am. So if I have 350, that means I have 300s. How many 10s would I need? 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have 350. and I have 200, so 200s and 40, I need to know what's the answer. So I'm adding 350, 240. Well, do I need to add any ones? No ones. How many groups of 10 do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Count your picture. Do you have 9 tens? 9 tens. And how many hundreds do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 300s and 200s 500? Yeah. Now, I didn't have to do any regrouping there, did I? Nope. So that was just a practice problem. Now we're going to get into the regrouping. So I'm going to reset my board. You can either erase your whiteboard or get a new piece of paper or turn it over. And I'm going to go ahead and change the problem. Now, before we do our base 10 blocks, we need to do our 3 read of the problem. So I'm going to read the problem. The first time through, your only job is to think what's happening in the story. All right? Garcia has 130 trading cards. Mark has 280 trading cards. How many trading cards do Garcia and Mark have together? We're not solving it. We're not finding answers right now. We're not even going to talk about numbers. What is happening in this story? What's going on? Okay, we've got 2 people. What are their names? Garcia and Mark. And what's happening? Pebble, what's happening in this story? They have trading cards. Yeah, we're figuring out how many they have together. Great. Have you ever played with cards with your friends? Like maybe Pokemon cards and you trade them and you have big collections. Some people put them in binders. And so we're figuring out how many they have together. Okay. So what's the important information we need to know? Private think time. We're going to read it. What are the important pieces of information? Garcia has 130 trading cards. Mark has 280 trading cards. How many trading cards do Garcia and Mark have together? What is the important information? Private think time. Go ahead and tell your learning buddy. What is the important information? No, I really mean it. I want you to say it out loud. What do you think is the important information? Tell your learning buddy. Turn and tell them just like you would in class. I heard 130 trading cards. I heard the word together. And I heard 280 trading cards. Okay. So before we get going with our base 10 blocks, we need to draw a picture and model our thinking with a picture. I like to use what I call bars, and you may have seen something like this before. So, do we have a hole here and some parts? Do we have 2 parts? What do we have? We have 2 people, don't we? We have Garcia and we have Mark. Who has more? Mark. So Mark's is going to be bigger. Well, it's going to be longer. What about Garcia? Garcia has less, so Garcia's bar is going to be shorter. Okay? So this is Mark, and this is Garcia. Okay. What other information do I know? Mark has 280. 280 what? Cards. Okay, what else do we know? Garcia has 130 cards. Okay. Do I have all my information? Okay, what are we trying to figure out? How many trading cards do Garcia and Mark have together? So we're trying to figure out how much this whole thing is. So I'm going to put a question mark because we don't know yet. Cards. Now, I'm going to do a little drawing on here. And I want you to see if it looks like anything you know. Do you know what that is? It's a number bond. So we have the two parts. So what do we need to do to find the whole? Hey, you add. So let's go try it out. So we're over here at our tools. What do we know? What numbers do we know? There we go, perfect. We know 280. And we said we were adding, and we know 130. Okay, how would I build that, or how would you draw it? Well, the first addend, we need two hundreds. Okay, I've got two hundreds. How many tens do I need? 8. Okay, draw 2 hundreds and 8 tens. There's 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm actually going to grab some more tens. I need some more tens. Okay, do you have it drawn? 2 squares, 8 sticks, and then below it, let's build the second addend. What do we have? 100, okay? And then how many tens do we have? We have 100 and we have 3 tens. Draw 3 tens. So private think time. What do we need to do? What's our next step? What are we going to do in this problem? Turn and tell your learning partner, what do you think we should do? Pebble, what do you think? That's a good idea. Pebble said maybe we should start by looking at the ones. Okay, do we have any ones built? No, because there's 0, 1, so we can just put a 0 here. All right, so what should we look at next? Let's look at the tens. We have 80 and 30. What is 80 and 30? 80, 90, 100, 110. I'm going to write down here, 110. Wait a minute. If I put these together, can I make another hundreds cube? Let's see if we can make one with all these tens. You ready? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 left over. Can I trade that in? Is it equivalent? Is it the same? It is. I'm going to trade it in. Hey, bank, can I have 100 square for 10 sticks? Sure. So now I've got this extra 100 square. I'm going to show you how we write that. We say, well, when I added 80 and 30 together, I had 110, and then I had another group of 100. It made a whole nother group of 100. And so I take that group of 100 and I put it over here in the hundreds place. And how we write that is we just put it like that. So let's check. 100, 200, 300, 400s. 100 plus 200 is 300, and one more 100 is 400. So we're going to put a 4 in the hundreds place, and now we have 410. Now, if I was writing this out and doing each place value, let's check. Watch. 0 plus 0 equals 0. 80 plus 30 equals 110. And 200 plus 100 equals 300. Oh my goodness. 110 plus 300 equals, it might go off, equals 410. Do those two numbers match? Do my blocks match? 100, 200, 300, 410. We figured it out. You regrouped. That's how we regroup. Now, if you're saying, Mrs. Wally, whoa, that was a lot. Don't worry, we're gonna work on this all week long, and we're gonna keep doing it over and over, and you're gonna feel really confident in it by the end. So let's look at our next slide. Here's another one. They did what I just did at the bottom. We call it partial sums. Everyone say that? Partial sums. Partial sums are when we take each place value, we add it up, and then at the end, we add up all the place values. So let's try that. We don't use tools for this one. So I'm going to get my pen. So what they did is they took this first place value, the ones, and they added them together. 5 ones plus 6 ones is how many ones? What is 5 plus 6? It's 11. 11 ones, okay? What is 7 tens and 1 10? 8 tens. So what is 8 tens? What number is 8 tens? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, 200s and 200s. Let's count them. 100, 200, 300, 400. And now we add those up together. What is 1 plus 0 plus 0? Yep, 1. What is 10 plus 80? 90, or 1 plus 8. 110 plus 810 is 9 tenths. And what is 4 hundreds plus nothing else? 400. So our answer is 491. Today, you have watched me build it. You have watched me check my work. You have drawn it. You have watched us do partial sums. So this is something we're going to continue to work on together. But that is adding with regrouping. So today for your assignment, what I would like you to do is I would like you to get your math workbook from Everyday Math. If you don't have that math workbook, you need to call your school and see if you can pick it up, because that's what we're going to be using to do math this year on TV. And you're going to do pages 35 through 36. And on those pages, you're going to practice drawing hundreds, tens, and ones and adding, and doing that partial sum, this right here again, where you're going to add up just the ones place, add up the tens place, 7 tens and 1 10 equals 80, right? Because it's 70 and 10. Adding up the hundreds place and then adding it all up together. Tomorrow, we will continue working on this and talk about it. All right, third graders, so that is your assignment for today. Workbook pages 35 through 36. And I'm going to meet you up front for our affirmation. All right, third graders. Oh, that's some tough work to do, but you are capable of doing it. I want you to remember today that you matter. You are important to everyone around you. You are important to Miss Oslin and I. We care about you and we care about your learning. So take a deep breath. I'm going to say it first. I matter. It's your turn. Go ahead. Wonderful job, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, third graders.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.